Let's go! Let's go, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Spitball, and I'm Dollar Bill. For this Monday, February 7th, 2022, taking you around the world of sports. You know how we do it on Spitballing. One topic, no scripts, no BS, shooting you straight. We educate, we entertain, and we try and put a couple shekels in your pocket along the way. Please, I want you to subscribe to us. Obviously, I'm on TikTok. I do TikTok videos nearly every day. Tell your friends. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Gotta get the Twitter thing down. We haven't figured that part out yet. We're working on that too. Still a work in progress in a lot of circumstances. That's why I spit it out right there. But we spit it all and spitball them. And the NBA trade deadline. We'll talk about the NBA today. It's been a little bit, get a little bit of a lull, like the calm before the storm. We'll talk about Super Bowl stuff later in the week. But the NBA trade deadline is on Thursday, and all the talk around here in New York, and the rumor that's really out there right now, is Ben Simmons and Seth Curry for James Harden. And, I'm not a Net fan per se. I like good things basketball. And obviously, there ain't nothing to root for in New York because we all suck. We'll get to the Knicks in a minute. But if the Sixers are willing to trade Simmons and little Curry, or old Curry, whatever he is, the other Curry, for Harden, I'll go to Barclays right now. I'll help pack up James' stuff. I'll go down to Philly. I'll drop him off. I'll get a cheesesteak and a root beer and a cheese wit. Go to Geno's, not Pat's. Geno's is better. Don't get some Freedom fries. Take a trip back. I'll be back in 5 hours. Do it right now. Because the Nets gave up so much draft capital to get Harden. They got him last year. He was a malcontent, and he was fat last year. Let's face it, I'm a fat guy. He was fat too. And now it's hard for him because he went out and scored 4 points the other night. This was supposed to be easy. This isn't what he signed up for. He imagined a healthy Kevin Durant. He imagined a world where Kyrie Irving, let's face it, would play home games. He doesn't. That's his prerogative. That's a show for another day. But it is what it is. He puts his mouth... But that's not what James Harden signed for. Now it's KD's out. Home game, Kyrie's out. Now it's hard. This is basically Rockets Northeast. And they're not as good as the Rockets down south when he left. Really. No Joe Harris. They got some nice, fill-in pieces. But, no KD, no Durant, no winning. That's what it comes down to. They've lost 8 games in a row. And listen, the Nets are so worried about putting a player alongside Joel Embiid right now. And right now, he's the MVP. And he's playing like the MVP. And, God, it's really great to watch. When he came out of college many years ago, not many, but a lot of years ago, a lot of people didn't want him because of his foot injury. He slid down to the 3rd overall pick. And for the first 2 years, everyone said, this guy's a bum. This guy's a waste of talent. Well, listen, he's healthy. And now he's got an edge to him. And now he can't be stopped. For most nights, 36 minutes, he pounds them. He's a walking double-double. He's 30 and 12 right waiting to happen. And, they're doing it without Ben Simmons, If you put together a healthy James Harden, or at least a pseudo-healthy James Harden, the Sixers have a chance to win this year. But listen, as far as the Nets go, you could have your pie-in-the-sky ideas. If Harden is, I'm going to come out and say it. The Nets can't win a championship this year. They can't. They physically can't do it. Because if Kyrie's only playing half the games, or less than half, or about half, or whatever, you're not beating these good teams. You're not going to beat the Sixers in a 7-game series, whether if Simmons is watching in the stands in street clothes, or if Harden's on the team. You're not winning. They're just incomplete with Kyrie. They're not getting any... what is, quote, the big three played? How many games together? 16 games over the course of 2 years? It's not happening. Joe Harris, not happening. if you trade for Ben Simmons, at least you get something back for Harden. Harden could walk away next year for nothing. Think of what you gave up, and in return, no titles, no nothing. Nothing. Zero. And, talk about all the stuff to get Kyrie and KD here. It's not working, guys. Listen, it doesn't work unless all three guys buy in. And that's why it worked. You know why it worked in Miami? Here's the real reason why it worked in Miami. It wasn't because of LeBron James, and it certainly wasn't because of Dwayne Wade. You know why it worked? Because a big three really can't exist. Truthfully, it cannot. Someone's statistics always take a hit. And it's that third guy who is willing to sacrifice the stats and the numbers and the scoring for the betterment of the team. The big three worked because Chris Bosh made it work. He was the linchpin to all that. Don't let anyone ever give you the bullshit that, LeBron James, it's all about winning. It's all about the third guy making the sacrifice. It was about Ray Allen making the sacrifice in Boston. Now it was for the big three in Miami. It was about Chris Bosh. And right now, James Harden's the third man. Listen, he was brought in as the other guy, the third guy. Guess what? If you look at his body language, as you like Brooklyn, it doesn't work. He has not bought in. And he can't buy in with a guy, KD, who's hurt. And he can't buy in with a guy playing half the games. And I don't blame him. And, he's got the relationship with the guy, Morey. He's got to go. He's got to go. I don't know what they're waiting for. And maybe KD says, I want to play with Harden. Listen, that, hamstrings, as a player, I was a Division I athlete. It might be golf, but it was still a Division I athlete. Still played rec sports all the time. I tore my hamstring at 27 or 28 years old. I've never been right since. Now, listen, I'm not a finely well-oiled athlete, but I'm 50 years old. I still feel it to this day. When you got hamstring issues, you have them basically for life. It's like when you're a parent for life. It's the same thing. I think, they got to bite the bullet a little bit and say, it's not working. And you know what? We have to save the franchise going. Because when KD leaves and gets old in the tooth, the Brooklyn Nets franchise will fall off a cliff. That's what they're staring at. If you trade Harden for Simmons, and I know he's not the same player, you're saving 7 years, something like that. At least you have something to build around for the future. You're building for the future and the now in the same trade. Now listen, Simmons has his issues. He's afraid to shoot. But listen, what do the Nets need now more than ever? They need a guy who can shut down defense, who likes to facilitate the ball. Those other two guys, last I checked, like to shoot a lot. Let this guy play. Go get Simmons. Yeah, he's a little bit of a bitch. But listen, so is James Harden. Harden's a bearded bitch. What's the difference? So if I were the Nets, make some common sense, as I always tell you, to make some common sense in your life and everything. Listen, suck it up, Buttercup. Just admit it's not working. And to turn around James Harden and all the draft capital you gave up and players, and you can flip him for Ben Simmons, you should be the GM of the year. Now listen, it does not matter what Harden does in Philadelphia, because you know what? He's going to be there next year anyway. So you know what? You give him a free shot. Because you listen, as I say right now, in 2022, the Nets are winning nothing. They've won nothing. They have never won anything. And in 2022, I don't care if you have a healthy KD. I don't care if he plays half the games, Mr. You know who I'm talking about, Mr. Kyrie. If he gets vaccinated, they still ain't winning. How about that? They're incomplete. They're missing the necessary pieces. And big threes don't work unless three guys buy in. And last I counted, only two did in Brooklyn. And that's a stretch. Probably closer to 1.5. That's it for this edition of Spitballin'. Of course, you can catch us on the Let's Go Network. And, of course, you better follow us on YouTube and Twitter. I'll get there. And Facebook. And, of course, TikToks. do a couple of videos. I took a little vacation day yesterday. All right? Sunday with the family and the dog. Didn't have any picks. What do you want me to tell you? Want me to tell you to bet on the Pro Bowl? Want me to give you some Olympic ski jumping results? Listen, don't bet every day. You bet with your head, not over it. Check the YouTube and the TikTok for daily picks. You'll have a pick coming later today. And if you hear the show, I think I like Charlotte tonight against the Raptors at home. Charlotte at home. They're a home dog. I kind of like home dogs that are live. So, might not win. It's an educated guess. My guess is better than yours. Good luck to you. So, that's it for this edition of SPiTBALLiN. And as I say, leaving every show, try and make some common sense out of your sports and your life. Catch you next time on SPiTBALLiN. Bye.